everyone to the Criminal Defense Show, where we're going to dive into marketing insights for your criminal defense firm needs. And today I have two very special guests joining me. I have Kevin Smith. He's clocking in here from Portland, Oregon. He's an Italian speaker and snowboarder who absolutely loves everything having to do with criminal defense marketing. And I also have Mr. Jonathan Dichter. He is an improv artist, father, future survivor contestant, but more importantly, the founding managing attorney at DUI Heroes in Linwood, Washington. Welcome, guys.
Oh, thanks a lot, Kelly. It's great to be here. I'm happy to chat about marketing or whatever you guys want to talk about.
It's good to have you. And I'm personally really stoked because I don't know if you know this, Mr. Dichter, but you're kind of famous around the Scorpion office.
Okay, so you said Mr. Dichter. That's way too formal. Jonathan's just fine. But I didn't know that I was famous around the Scorpion office. That are there dartboards with my picture on it or what?
No, all good stuff, I assure you. But
full-size cutouts, John.
I expected that.
Kevin talks about you a lot, and you're kind of a legend on the criminal defense team because you're an authority in your area. You're really good at running your business. And you're always innovating and learning. And so I'm really excited to have you here to impart your wisdom on all of our viewers, because I know you have some really good stuff to share. And today, in particular, we're talking about the importance of having a well-oiled intake process and the effect that that can have on your business, good or bad. We can see it do both things, right, guys?
Yeah, no doubt. The intake at our office is really crucial, and we've really taken a lot of time to refine the way that we do it, even down to the simple words that we use and looking for that way to connect immediately with that client who calls us. Because when you deal with not just criminal defense, but specifically DUI, when clients call, they are scared most often. They're terrified to even be making that phone call. The vast majority of our clients have never been through anything like this before. They're not career criminals or hardened criminals or anything. They're maybe doing some Google research. Maybe they got our name from somebody else. Maybe they heard us on the radio. They have no idea what to expect. And so guiding them through that process is of paramount importance to my team.
Absolutely. It can have a huge effect on your bottom line, right?
Oh, yeah. Huge.
So how do you manage it when people are calling in? What is your system that you found to work the best for you in your team?
Sure. The first most important thing is when you call my office, somebody answers the phone. If you call after business hours, you're going to get one of our 3 attorneys directly. I've been doing that since the very, very beginning when it was just me. I had a client that actually once called out to me that the whole reason they hired me was because I took their phone call on a weekend when they could hear noise around me. And they're like, I'm sorry, am I interrupting something? And I said, no, it's perfectly okay. I'm just, if there's noise, I'm on a boat right now. And they said, what do you mean you're on a boat? And I'm somebody who's always honest and upfront with everybody. I said, well, I'm actually in international waters right now. I just laid my dad to rest by putting his ashes in the water about an hour ago. The fact that I took that phone call at that moment and talked to them was why they decided to hire us, because who does that? And the answer is we do, but also my dad would have, right? And that's the thing. My dad was a physician, and my dad put his patients above everything else. So I learned client care from a doctor. But really the first most important thing is when they call, we answer.
And that's so powerful, honestly, that you were able to take that experience and the wisdom from your father and pass that on to the way that you manage your practice. And I'm sure your clients can feel the difference between an experience like that and maybe a couple of other attorneys they might have already called on their journey, Yeah.
I have to say, to me, it always seemed like something that I would take for granted. That this is just how we would do it. And of course you're going to feel taken care of because I want to take care of you. I have to be honest with you, I understand it in an entirely new light and learned how to understand it in an entirely new light. I'm not kidding, in the last 24 hours. So outside of my professional world, personally, I'm having a real struggle right now. Those who know me know that I'm 42. I'm a dad. I'm getting married. We've been living through a global pandemic. At the beginning of it, I went through thyroid cancer, which stunk. And now I found out this last weekend, I also have kidney cancer. So I get to go through that. And the thing that I've been waiting for is to talk to my surgeon, because my surgeon is kind of an important guy in this. My surgeon called me last night at 9:30 p.m. directly. Called me on my cell from his cell, and we chatted for about 45 minutes about scheduling and what to expect and how he's going to try to get me in sooner rather than later and those sorts of things. And when I hung up the phone from him, I turned to my fiance and I said, I think that's why we do that. And I know this guy was working hard. I know he does 4 to 5 surgeries a day. He's getting 40 new referrals a week. But he took 45 minutes out of his Tuesday night to call me. He's never met me before, but to call me and talk to me. That made me feel protected. And it just reinforced what that feeling must be on the other end of the phone for us.
That lived experience with your doctor, and granted, this is, DUI cases and any criminal case, some of them are a matter of life and death.
Always.
Like your health issues. That's sure. So scary, by the way, and I'm glad to hear that you're.
I appreciate it. But I can take care of that. If anybody can take care of cancer twice in a year, it's me. Don't worry about it.
We believe in you, right, Kevin?
Yeah, and I will say, John, and you already know this, I've spoken to you about this, but after working with you for some time and also kind of working with you through the thyroid situation, I came to realize that nothing was going to stop you from still continuing to do your job because you genuinely know that you're helping people. Mm-hmm. And when I started working with you and I heard you say that, it just went off in my head. I was like, oh, this guy knows what he's doing. He's handling business. He knows that people will call after hours, and that if that phone does not get picked up by anybody or get returned, if the call doesn't get returned in a reasonable amount of time, that you've essentially lost that lead to somebody else that does answer the phone. Sometimes we refer to it as screening out good leads, right? Not answering the phone is the best way to do that. So
it involves some really basic fundamental principles that most people, frankly, forget to bring with them to their law firm. The most important one really is about that communication and that ability, but a recognition of the fact that no matter what's going on in my life that day, right? No matter what's happening, if I've had a bad fight with my fiance, if my kid is going bananas because at-home school is driving her nuts, if my dog just threw up on my feet, no matter what, I promise you that the person on the other end of the line has had a worse day than I did. Because a lot of times they got arrested. This is where I go off script and I go out on a limb. I'm going to say, if you're in this industry and you can't find a way to emotionally connect with your clients, do something else for a living.
Hard truth thrown at you by Jonathan. But it's true. It is. You have to have that empathy and that compassion.
We have to understand the story our clients bring to us and understand that storytelling is kind of a pet project of mine. The book that I have out there is Innovative DUI Trial Tools. It's a lawyer desk reference book on DUI, and the vast majority of the content I've added to it is about how to use the skills of storytelling and narrative and Hollywood and Broadway and television in a courtroom. Not to create fiction, but to create compelling nonfiction, to create a compelling narrative, to emotionally connect with your audience, i.e. a jury or a judge or whoever you're talking to. But in order to do that, you have to first understand the story of the person that's coming to you. And this is a free tip for all of my brethren who are out there that want the easiest and most simple way to improve their intake process. And it is to eliminate a very common phrase from their nomenclature. It's very common. We all do it all the time, 1,000 times a day. Somebody calls you up on the phone. You greet them. Hi, Kelly. Nice to talk to you. How are you doing today? Stop asking your clients how they're doing. They're calling a criminal defense lawyer. You know how they're doing. They're not doing well. The better thing to say is, how can I help you? What can I do for you? How can I put your mind at ease today? Recognize that they're calling with a reason. They're calling with a story. They're scared. They're nervous. They've been arrested. They need something. Ask how you can give them that something. That's the first part of the narrative that works.
That's great. Replace, how are you doing, with how can I help you?
Yeah.
One simple switch, very, very powerful.
Another really big part of intake for me was identifying what makes us different than everybody else, right? Identifying why do you want to hire us over Bob down the street? And then taking that and amplifying it to the point where it's not a question of do you want to hire us or do you want to hire them? Or are we better than them? It's making sure that the client or prospective client recognizes there is literally nobody else in the industry that sells what we sell. We are the only firm that does it our way. Therefore, we have no competition. We are the top of our own food chain.
So what approach do you take with following up once you've had that initial conversation? And let's just say, for example, the client says, I've got to think about it. I've got to talk to my wife. I've got to look and see what the bank account looks like. What is your approach from there?
There's a couple of pieces to it. And really, the number one thing is tracking. We have a spreadsheet. We take down name, date of birth, email address, phone number, etc. And we do a couple of things. First is everybody who calls, they get an email, whether they set up an appointment or not. They get an email that says, thanks for calling. We want to help you out. Let us know when you're ready. We also include a free copy of my book. I wrote a book called the DUI Survival Guide. I update it every year with new laws for Washington State. And it's like 80 something pages. You can buy it on Amazon if you want to, but frankly, the only reason I have it there is so they'll print physical copies for me. I have it as a PDF and we email it to everybody. It's informational, but it's also a little bit marketing, right? But so we do that. And then we establish a firm understanding of what's coming next. Set a defined expectation that has a time limit on it, and then follow through. Now, it's not always appropriate, but most often, and again, Kevin will attest because he's listened to the calls, most often those calls will end with either we've got an appointment set up or, okay, I understand. What I'm going to do is I'm going to follow up with you a week from Wednesday by phone, unless I hear from you otherwise. I'm going to email you next Friday, unless I hear from you otherwise. That way they know what to expect, right? And if you say, yeah, then great. I put it on my calendar. And then I call you next Friday at noon, right? You can't say it if you're not going to do it because then you're just a liar. But you got to follow through. And as long as you start following through, you will have a reputation for being somebody who follows through. You won't need to follow through as much on the intake because they'll sign up right away. Or you'll be able to follow through and pick up those stragglers.
Such good information.
Track it. Make a note of when you're going to follow up. Tell them you're going to follow up. And then the most important part, actually follow up. And if you don't, you better have a really good reason. And you better tell them in advance what the reason is. I have called about 17 clients in the last few days to tell them, hey, I'm not going to be the one at your next court date, or I'm not going to be in that next appointment with you. And I'm really, really sorry. But also I do have cancer right now. And Katie's going to take care of it, or Rachel's going to take care of it, and it's going to be fine. But I wanted you to know personally why it's not going to be me. Now, first of all, every single one of them had like wonderful well wishes for me and all that. But they also felt amazingly appreciative of like, oh my God, my lawyer has cancer and he took the time out of his day to call me just to say he wasn't going to be on the phone call and one of the other attorneys was going to do it. Right? It cost me 3 minutes of time. It will pay huge dividends in the back end, not only as an individual, but for the business.
Kevin, I want to turn it over to you and let you take the floor here for a second and tell us the top things that you think people should either stop doing or start doing when it comes to intake.
Yeah, the list is long, but I'll try and keep it simple. So answer your phones when you can. If you can't and you're in court, get an answering service. Make sure that they're touching base with a human being. This is obviously more attuned for a solo practitioner. Maybe you don't have office staff or you don't have a secretary to be taking calls and fielding calls. If you're going to let them go to voicemail, make sure that your voicemail box is not full. I cannot tell you how many times that I will call an attorney that I work with. I'll hit their voicemail box. It will say this voicemail box is full. I'll hang up. I'll send them a text. I'll shoot them an email and say, hey, your voicemail box is full. How many potential new leads, new clients did we miss on this premise, right? But ultimately what it comes down to is the person calling you there's a decent chance they've already spoken with another attorney. And if that's the case, what are you doing differently? Is it that you're answering the phone? Is it that you're answering it with compassion? Is that you have a discount for their particular profession or their field? Something that entices them more than the opposition in this case in your market is going to be able to give them. And if you can do that, as something that John has said in the past, is if you can do that and you can make yourself the top of your food chain, there's nobody else that can compete with you because you do what you do differently, you do it better, you do it the best. You'll probably just see better results naturally.
You said a couple of different words there, and I want to caution again my brethren on this. Yes, a lot of people who call us have spoken to other attorneys, and I'm going to invite you to do something that's a little bit brazen. Every time somebody says to me, "I've already spoken to 2 attorneys," I always ask them the same question: "Who'd you talk to?" And I want to know the names if they're able to give me. Sometimes they're not comfortable to, but I want to know. Then do not, under any circumstances, start bad-mouthing other people in your industry. Do not. Even if you could legitimately do it, even if they deserve it, do not badmouth other people in your industry. What I always tell the clients is, "Oh, you talked to Bob. You know what? I know Bob real well. I like Bob. He's a good guy. Here's why we're a little bit different than his firm and why we might fit a little bit differently for you." I never say better. I never say we're better than that person. I never say that person isn't as good as I am. I will say we're the ones you come to when you need the best. But I never say that in conjunction with comparing myself to another attorney. I think it's frankly a dirty pool. I don't think it's good business. I don't think it's good professionalism. And frankly, it's a personal decision for them at that point. Who do they feel more comfortable with? And I tell them that, especially if I know that they're shopping on essentially the same shelf. If they're talking to one of the other top-rated guys in the state, again, if you've ever heard me say this on a call, you'll be able to attest to it. I'll say, "Wow, you know what? You're definitely shopping in the right area of the store there. You've got some of the top attorneys on your list. For you, it's really going to boil down to a question of personal taste. Who do you feel like you connect the most with? Who do you feel like you communicate the best with? Here's a little bit about what makes us different from them. We work as a team." And then I go into a little bit about us. Whether they hire me or not, and that's the other key. Information will generate business. Stop selling. Start giving. Okay? Talk to the people during your intake. Give them useful information. Then, when they know you know what you're talking about and they feel like you've given them value, you can ask them for something in return. Ask them for their trust and their business. Don't start off with your sales pitch.
Stop selling, start giving.
To run in tandem or right along what you just said, we always talk about, from the marketing manager's perspective, we talk about authority, right? You're trying to build authority, and oftentimes that doesn't come in the form of just direct market advertising. It might come in, hey, in your case, you have published books, you have a series of FAQs, these types of additional media, this additional content that people can consume that is completely free. Maybe they have to actually call you just for you to send them the PDF, but at its core, it's completely free. And you're offering this to them, you're giving this to them, you're not selling them anything. You're just saying, hey, look, this is something that I think you deserve to know. Here it is. If you happen to get caught in this situation, or if you're already in this situation, if you know somebody, family, friend, relative, whatever it is, they'll probably come back to you on the basis that you are the authority on that matter. Mm-hmm. So stop selling, start giving. That's so good.
I love it. Well, guys, I think that's it for today. We've covered so much ground and we've gone over a lot of really great tips for people. Hopefully there's a lot of information that you can take from what we talked about today and put towards your own practice. And to everyone tuning in, please share this episode. If you know someone who would benefit from our conversation today, you can always find it on our website, scorpion.co. That's scorpion.co.
Hey, Kelly.
Yeah.
If people that are watching, if they have questions about any of the things that I've said, if they want to reach out, I don't know if they want to reach out through you or through Kevin, if they want to email me directly, I'm happy to have either my contact info or Kevin's contact info. I'm always happy to answer questions from other attorneys, sit and chat with them. Kevin will tell you, he asked me if I would talk to a friend of his for 5 minutes. How long was I on the phone with him, Kevin?
I don't know. hours. You guys still talk, I imagine. Like,
we do. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's out of my hands at that point. but yeah, seriously, you're a tremendous resource for everybody around you.
There's more than enough business to go around, and I'm happy to help anybody be a better version of themselves at this job.
It's a really kind and generous offer, and I hope everyone takes him up on it.
That's why I love this guy.
Me too. Thanks, Jonathan.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. Well, that concludes this month's episode of the Criminal Defense Show. Bye, everybody.
See you. Bye, Kelly.